Hey, welcome back to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, and trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so you can easily choose the best watch for yourself in the comfort of your own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online. If you'd like to know the price, simply click on the links in the description below. We greatly appreciate it if you purchase your next watch from us at JazzTime.com. And quite a next purchase that watch will be if you consider the Patek Philippe Nautilus 5980/1AR, the Nautilus date and chronograph. And if you have the Audemars Piguet 26331 ST, their Royal Oak chronograph, well, chances are you may be wanting to upgrade somewhere, and that somewhere would very most likely be the Patek Philippe Nautilus, also a chronograph. Now, why would that be? Because, well, it's all in the name, the brand, the desirability. There's so many factors within all of these where basically the only logical step up from the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak chronograph would only really be the Patek Philippe Nautilus chronograph. So I'll be going over some features here. I don't have any solid numbers because these things fluctuate every day, especially when it comes to price. But the general overall pricing here, when it comes to the retail, the Royal Oak chronograph comes around like $30-ish thousand, whereas the Nautilus does come in around like the $60-ish or $70,000 range. But when it comes to the market price, you only want to purchase these watches. You don't want to have to purchase, thousands and thousands of dollars on extra watches that you don't really need at your authorized dealer in order to establish that relationship. You just want the watch itself. Well, this would probably be the most cost-effective way to do it, is to buy it, through the market price. However, the market price does seem to tell a slightly different story, whereas the Royal Oak chronograph does have a market price around 60 or 50 to 60K, almost double that of its retail price, whereas on the Royal Oak Nautilus, the Patek Philippe Nautilus has a market price of over $120,000, at least as of the making of this video. So quite a huge jump there, easily close to double the retail price. Now, why would you want to upgrade? Well, simply just think about the brands here. You have Audemars Piguet, who sort of they have a tendency to outsource their movements, and they sort of have things a little bit more streamlined. Also consider the stock options. So stock options, I mean, how many models does each brand put into each of their model lines? Now consider Audemars Piguet. Well, if I just say Audemars Piguet, you're probably going to think Royal Oak Offshore, Royal Oak chronographs. That's about it. Whereas on the Patek Philippe side, you have their Calatravas, you have the Nautilus, Aquanaut, Travel Times, all of those different types of watches. They have so many more different variations of their own line that you only have maybe about 10 to 15% at most of their product shares being the Nautilus chronograph. Now, if you're looking to upgrade to this chronograph, here's some things to consider. Now, if you're looking at just the construction, this chronograph only really comes in, well, this steel version, the all gold version, or all gold with leather. That's about it. But Patek Philippe, their blues are out of this world when it comes to the tonality of their dial colors, and the overall cohesiveness of their design here is just second to none. And for good reason. They're Patek Philippe, just doing Patek Philippe things. Whereas the Audemars Piguet, the Royal Oak lines, they sort of, well, they put all of their effort into basically maximizing the Royal Oak and the Royal Oak chronographs, Royal Oak offshores, and their chronographs as well. So you basically have a lot of different variations, a lot of choice with the Audemars Piguet Royal Oaks. Now consider also, Audemars Piguet tends to release a new variation, a new dial color, for example, or a new material, or a new size for their Audemars Piguet Royal Oak lines. Well, so that means older models will then be discontinued, and things may change here and there. Whereas when it comes to Patek Philippe, known as the more traditional of the two brands, well, they stick to it. They don't really change all that much with each generation, and if anything, they just release a new dial color. That's about it. So when it comes to the Patek Philippe side, at most they'll change the color of the dial, and it takes years and years and years for them to even consider discontinuing a model line and then improving upon that with something else such as the movement. And speaking of the movement, you do have the exhibition caseback on the Nautilus, whereas you don't really have that on the Royal Oak, but that's not really a huge deal because when it comes to the movement, well, which one is necessarily better? Hard to say, because it all comes down to sort of the brand perception, the audience perception, the customer perception of each brand, because, well, Patek Philippe does have that added benefit of all of their parts being made in-house, all handmade, all hand-finished, and that's all well and good. That certainly does drive up the price because you do have fewer models being made at any one moment, and therefore, well, you're going to have fewer models, and with such high desirability, it's going to be harder to get one as well. So about a 20-to-1 ratio in terms of production when it comes to the raw production numbers. The Royal Oak line, the offshores, the chronographs, etc., they make far more of these because that's pretty much all they make. They don't really make much outside of this, or maybe even the 1159s if you consider those. But the Royal Oak offshores, well, and the chronographs, actually, well, they do have a possibility of being outsourced to other companies, and they're not quite as handmade as Patek Philippe are. But when it comes to the reliability of each one, well, no one really knows, because you're going to have to hold on to each of these watches for years, decades even, and it hasn't even been decades since each of these watches have been released, so it's literally impossible to tell which movement is actually better. They both tell the time splendidly, they both work just fine. Now, also consider that the Royal Oak does actually have that slight added benefit of having a small seconds hand, whereas the Nautilus doesn't have a seconds hand. But if you saw my video on this 5980 earlier, well, then you'll just know that there's really no need for a seconds hand. You ask someone the time, they're not going to give you the seconds, they'll give you the hour and the minute. That's all that matters, and that's all that Patek Philippe really needs to give you. Whereas Audemars Piguet, they're covering all of their bases, so that's not a bad thing. All right, so another point of contention here is the bracelets. Well, the Audemars Piguet bracelets, I feel, are actually, they do actually come out ahead, and here's why. Because you do have the satin brush finishing across this entire bracelet going all the way from top to bottom. If I focus in on here, if you wear this under a suit cuff, it's highly unlikely that you'll see any scratches, if at all, because it's actually harder to scratch this because it is, in fact, all steel. A complete steel construction does make it harder, much more solid, and the high polish portions are actually sort of hidden when it comes to, you know, just simply wearing it. So you're not very likely to break it or at least scratch the polish. Also, opening the clasp here, incredibly easy. Just press both buttons in and it just deploys automatically. It's incredibly easy. And when it comes to sizing, you do have a sort of screw and pin system. So you can tell if any of these start coming loose, you can just screw it back in, which is, again, highly unlikely because it's Audemars Piguet. You're paying $50,000 for this watch. You expect the screws to stay in, and they will. All right. So you do have that sense of solidity and just overall security with this bracelet. Whereas the contrast here with the Patek Philippe Nautilus, you do have these high polished portions of these intermediate links, and just simply breathing on this will cause them to scratch. So now, if you sort of look beneath my fingerprints there, you can tell that it's incredibly easy to just leave the smallest hairline scratches on these intermediate links. All right. While they do look absolutely beautiful with their high polish, you know, that is a potential downfall. Also consider this clasp. It's a fold-over clamshell type of clasp, and there's no easy deployment system here. You're actually going to have to pull it open, and it just doesn't feel quite as safe. You have to physically pull it open, and you know, if you tend to fidget a lot, this could be a potential breaking point, because if you're constantly fastening and unfastening, the little fasteners in here could wear out over time much sooner than you'd think. All right, whereas that won't really happen with the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. All right, and also when it comes to the sizing, it's a pin and sleeve system. There are no screws here to to stop anything from falling out. So if you consider this sort of pin sleeve system for the sizing, it's a more primitive system, and also it just doesn't feel quite as secure. But Patek Philippe doing Patek Philippe things, I'm sure that they've engineered this down to the micrometer so that when you do use tools to size this, it works just fine. So I'm willing to place my bets that the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak bracelet here is actually in fact better in terms of security. And when it comes to perception, that does seem to ring true. The security of those screws, you can literally see when they start coming loose, whereas on the pin sleeve system, if anything comes loose there, if you're missing a sleeve, the pin will easily just fall out and there goes your bracelet, and therefore there goes your watch onto the concrete floor. All right, so that's about it. That's all I have for you guys. So those are some things to consider when you are thinking about upgrading from the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak chronograph. Why you may consider the Nautilus. Now overall, bracelet aside, they both feel incredible to wear. And I will actually argue that the Nautilus bracelet does actually feel much softer, and that's due to the overall finishing. It's just how they do the finishing on the inside. It just feels like you're wearing a pillow. Whereas on the Audemars Piguet, it does have that more industrial feel, and I think it's due to the intermediate links potentially sort of having some sharp edges on the inside here that make it, well, a little less comfortable, but still incredibly comfortable when you're wearing it. You're not going to notice them that much, if at all. So those are just tiny nitpicky things, and even then, when it comes to the differences between these two models, we're splitting hairs here. So why would you upgrade to the Nautilus? Well, you just simply want that desirability. You're going to have that exclusivity, and it's Patek Philippe. It's the highest considered brand watchmaker, one of the oldest watchmakers in the world, and they have their name and their models to back it up. Whereas Audemars Piguet, they're a little bit more sportier. They're a bit newer. They're sort of the new kids on the block, but they've certainly asserted themselves as being one of the top brands. So it comes down to you, but I will say that the Nautilus is certainly a clear winner when it comes to upgrading to the best possible chronograph. And if you saw my video, my review video on this, I can just, we'll have a link to the buying pages for these below, and you can see the videos on the pages there. But consider the Nautilus. This is actually quite a superior watch, and they've done quite a bit of thinking and a lot of planning to make this work, and it works splendidly. So the clear winner, obviously, the Patek Philippe Nautilus. However, you still can't go wrong. If you don't have an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak chronograph, pick one up. You'll see that you'll love it. You're not gonna hate either of these watches. In fact, you're gonna love both of them. All right, so that's about it. That's all I've got for you. Leave us a like. Be sure to leave your comments. Which one would you rather have? Do you want to upgrade to the Nautilus? I think you do, but let us know down in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell notification so you can be notified when we go live with another video like this one. And as always, if you'd like to purchase either of these watches, they're both about the same thickness. So, honestly, when it comes to the weight, you're not going to notice much of a difference, but it's all in the looks here. All right. If you want to purchase either of these or even both of them, you can just have them to wear. Go to our website, jazztime.com. You can place your order down below. Links in the description. We'll see you in the next video, and take care.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to Model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on the mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.